Hey guys, welcome. Today in this video we are going to actually be talking about a little family recipe, which if you've seen my previous videos, you know how absolutely much my family means to me. So I wanted to give you guys this little piece of my heart and my home recipe that's pretty secretive. Even though this recipe is pretty out there, I think everyone pretty much has heard of it or has tasted it, but it is deviled eggs. And this recipe was actually passed down from my grandmother's mother, who is from South Carolina. So we do have some southern roots in us mixed with our little Italian roots. But this recipe was actually passed down from my grandma to my mom to me, and I can't cook, so if I can make this, it's pretty amazing. But the thing about this recipe is that it was never given to us on a recipe card. We were actually taught it pretty much just by doing it and by taste and smell. I do know like what the consistency should be like and how much I should put things in of each ingredient and how to do all the things that it requires to make these. But I did go ahead and actually Google how much of each ingredient you guys would need to do for the mixture, because I know that I personally wouldn't want to watch a video saying just put a little bit of this and put a little bit of that in it. So I did go ahead and do that. And I did get my recipes. I looked actually on two websites. I looked on foodnetwork.com and then amymykitchen.com, and I do personally trust both of these. When I was reading it, it sounded pretty similar to my recipe, minus the fact that we don't use exact measurements, but we did use the same exact ingredients. Now, for preparation for this, you are going to need to boil some eggs. So I also did a little research for you guys on that too, which personally kind of sounds dumb, but I actually didn't know how to boil eggs. Normally my mom does this for me, or like I said, she does this for me, or it's like pre-done, whatever it may be. So I did go on allrecipes.com, and the way they say it and the way you do it, this is how I did it today, because I did follow their recipe. So you're going to need a pot of water, and you're going to fill that pot of water up. And then after that, before you turn on the heat, you're going to actually place your eggs into the water. Then after that, you're going to turn it on, and you're going to wait until your water boils. Now, you are going to put a plate on top, or if you're fancier than me, you're going to use a cover for it that maybe you can see in. But if you personally don't have that or you can't see into it, I would actually sit here by it, and so you can kind of start to hear the eggs kind of bounce. So that's how you know it's starting to boil. Once it does come to a boil, you can just do that by checking. You're going to take it off the heat immediately, put it to the side. I would then go to my sink and dump out the water. After that, you are going to take those eggs from what you just boiled, and you're going to put them into a container, and you're going to let them sit. I personally, and what my mom has told me, which her mom has told her, for about 12 minutes. But on allrecipes.com, it does say that you should allow your eggs to sit for about 14 to 17 minutes. Now, honestly, 12 minutes works for me, but I would say probably depends on who you are and how you like your eggs, or personally how hot you let your eggs get. Either way, I did actually wind up letting my eggs sit for probably around 15 to 16 minutes today, because, not gonna lie, I kind of forgot. Anywho, my eggs did turn out perfectly fine. And then after that step, you are going to then go to the sink. And a tip I learned from my mother is that when you're going to crack the eggs on a paper towel, and when you're cracking the eggs, if you can't get the shells off right away because they're not peeling really easily off, because sometimes you really have to go at that egg and you might wind up like getting divots in it from picking off the shell, to run it under the sink water and actually try to do it that way, and sometimes it can help loosen up the shell from the egg. Now, I did that personally today, and also you're going to rinse your eggs in general afterwards just to make sure you have all the shells off. Once you do that, you are going to go ahead and cut your eggs in half, which I already did this step before. See, I already did this beforehand just so I could be ready. I do have a handy dandy special egg container to hold all my eggs, because you know that's how much we love this recipe. I would suggest getting something like this, or even like a sheet pan, or something where they're not going to really slide around, because they are going to be slippery and you are going to be filling them. So I'd recommend that. So I'm just going to go ahead and put the rest of my eggs in its container. Now, I did use 6 eggs. That is what the recipe called for. Now, we normally do about 12, which would give us 24 eggs, because you are going to cut them in half, so you're going to get double the amount of eggs you do. So then after that, I'm going to tell you the ingredients that you're going to want to get out and get ready. You are going to need some pickles. Now, it doesn't matter what brand you use for any of these ingredients. It's all going to taste probably around the same. Some mayo. Then you're going to need some vinegar, which to me at first, when I first heard of this recipe, when my mom taught me, I was like, that sounds absolutely disgusting, but I promise you don't taste it. And then you're going to need some yellow mustard. You need some salt and pepper. And some paprika. The paprika is actually just for looks. You're not going to taste it. After that, you're going to want to get out 1/4 cup and some tablespoons. After that, you are going to add the mixture. I already did this already, but I'm going to go ahead and tell you guys what you're going to need. So first off, you're going to take the eggs that you already cut in half. You're going to put the yolks into a separate bowl. After that, you are going to need a masher, potato masher, or like a spoon, something you can really, mash it with. After you put the egg yolks into the container, which I already did this, I'm sorry I didn't film it, I completely forgot and slipped my mind, but after you do that, you put them into a container like this. You are going to take 1/4 cup of mayo, 1 teaspoon of vinegar. You are going to then take 1 teaspoon of mustard. You then are going to do, now the recipe says 1/8 teaspoon of salt and pepper. Personally, I just add the salt and pepper because I find that's the easiest way to do it instead of trying to sit there and measuring it out. I mean, these would be pretty difficult to measure in anyway. Then it says that you're going to take some pickles. Now, it doesn't tell me exactly how many pickles I need. But I like about 2 pickles, sometimes 3. It really depends on how fat or how big my pickles are and how I'm feeling that day, honestly. But you are going to take the pickles, which I can show you how to cut them. So you're going to take a pickle, just like this. And you are going to cut it in half. Now, one thing my mom did teach me, and makes sense, is that you're going to want smaller chunks because who's going to really want to take or taste a big chunk of pickles? I personally don't like pickles. I'm a very picky eater. But you don't taste the pickles in this. This is actually the only dish I do like pickles in. But you're going to take it, cut them into really small chunks. Really small. Sometimes, I probably will have to go through and actually cut them smaller. So hold on a second while I do this. So yeah, I'm going to actually go through and cutting mine smaller. I really don't like big chunks of pickles, but if that's your thing, go right ahead and leave them pretty big. So you are going to need a spoon. I like to taste mine before I fill them just to make sure I'm on track and they're supposed to be tasting how I remember them tasting since I don't have a recipe card. Okay. Now you are going to go ahead. I already have my mixture pre-made. It's right here. So it should look about this. I mean, it's going to have a yellow consistency because of the yolk. And you are going to go ahead. Oops. Oh my gosh, pickle juice. You're going to go ahead and add this. Okay. Now one thing that the recipe doesn't tell you that is a family secret of ours that we like to do is we really do like to add pickle juice, but not too much because you don't want this mixture too watery. If you do find that your mixture is too watery, I do recommend to put some more mayo in it as it will help thicken this recipe up. Once you're done with all of that, you are going to take a spoon, just a regular spoon. I actually, if you find this an easier way, but this is the pretty basic way and the way I was taught, I actually take a Ziploc bag and I fill the Ziploc bag with the mixture and then I cut the corner, kind of like a pastry bag, if you guys know what that is, and then I would go ahead and fill my eggs. So I'm just going to go ahead and fill these eggs real quick and then we will move on to the next step. Now, the thing about this food is it doesn't have to be pretty. It's not meant to be a pretty dish. It's meant to be a yummy dish. So I'm just going to go ahead, fill my eggs. I always love making this dish. I always feel really connected to my family, and my family, out of the 5 siblings of my mother, my family is the best at making this. So, you know, I feel a little pride in that. I'm going to keep doing it. I'm almost done. Okay. Once you're done with that, you're going to go ahead and go on to the paprika. Now, I'm going to warn you guys, because I did this last time, and I don't want you to make the same mistake as I did. You want to be very gentle with the paprika, because you will taste it if you put too much on. And this is not meant to be taste. It is meant to just be a decoration. Some people do it, some people don't. I've seen it both ways, so I'm just going to put a little paprika on. Oh my gosh, that was a lot. Keep going. Make sure all of them have a nice amount. Okay. Once you finish that, you are all done. They should look a little something like that. And that is really it. It's pretty simple. It doesn't take a lot of prep work. It doesn't take a lot of ingredients. And it's really good. I know it's really good. It's pretty tried and true and tested with my family. Now, I would love if you guys either did it or recreated it and honestly told me if you thought it was good. I would love to know your feedback, because this is, like I said, a family recipe. Now, I did go by the measurements of Food Network and Amy in the Kitchen, but everything I did when I made my mixture was by eye and by taste. But I personally think it's a really good recipe. It's really great for an appetizer. It really brings me back home. It makes me think of my grandmother, and I thought it was a really cool dish to show you guys because it is such a generational dish and it is passed down for many people. In that, I really hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your day. Thanks for watching.